Welcome to Unleashed, the podcast for dog lovers who are ready to unleash the truth about all things canine.
Woof.
Each week we dive into the world of dog ownership, stories, training tips, breed deep dives. We cover it all.
Everything from heartwarming adoptions, those get me every time.
Oh, yeah.
To those hilarious puppy antics, the ones that make you wonder how they haven't destroyed your entire house yet.
We explore the highs, the lows, and all those tail-wagging moments that make life with dogs so special.
And this week, we are diving deep, and I mean deep, into one of the most incredible things about sharing your life with a dog.
The bond, right.
That's it. That incredible connection between humans and canines, and get this, even between dogs and other species.
It's funny how you can just look into your dog's eyes and bam!
Yeah.
You're hit with this wave of pure love. Like, what is that?
Right.
Well, today we're going to try to unpack the science behind it.
The why behind those puppy dog eyes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to take it a step further, we are also going to look at how this bond, this connection, plays out in some pretty remarkable animal friendships.
Like the story of Coda, the husky.
Oh, yeah, Coda. Now, that is one incredible story.
Have you ever heard of a dog making friends with, get this, a herd of deer?
Okay, so we have Coda, this husky living with his family, and everything is great until he starts disappearing.
Oof, gone.
And not just for an afternoon, we're talking days at a time.
Mm-hmm.
His owners were, well, you can imagine,
Beside themselves.
worried sick.
Totally.
They had no clue where he was going or what he was doing. And then a neighbor came forward with footage from his game camera.
And there he was.
Coda hanging out, totally chill, with a whole herd of deer, and even snuggling with a young buck.
They were playing, napping, all snuggled up, just roaming around like they were all part of the same pack. This wasn't just a, oh, hey, I see you over there kind of thing. They were buddies.
Coda had formed a real bond with these deer. It's amazing. But when we start to dig into the science behind these bonds, especially the bonds we share with dogs, it starts to make sense, right?
It really does, because this isn't just some sentimental story. There's a whole biological explanation behind these connections. It all comes down to this little hormone called oxytocin.
Oxytocin, isn't that the love hormone, the one that gets released between, mothers and their babies when they're bonding?
That's the one. And guess what? Studies have shown that when dogs and their humans gaze into each other's eyes, it triggers this surge in oxytocin levels in both of them.
No way. Are you serious? So it's the same hormone?
The very same. And it actually mirrors the same bonding process we see between human mothers and their babies.
Pretty amazing, right?
That's right. This hormonal feedback loop is a key part of understanding how deep this bond can be.
So there's actually a scientific reason for that feeling, that connection we feel. It's not just us being, crazy dog people. It's actual science.
Crazy dog people with a hormonal reason to be head over heels. But what I find even more fascinating is that this bonding ability in dogs, it's not just limited to us.
That's right. I mean, we've all seen the videos, dogs making friends with cats.
And pigs.
Even the occasional parrot.
Don't forget the goats.
But deer. Okay, that's a new one for me.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? These incredible interspecies relationships, they challenge everything we thought we knew.
It definitely makes you realize that their capacity for bonding, for connection, it goes way beyond us.
Way beyond. One of the coolest examples I can think of is livestock guardian dogs, LGDs for short.
LGDs, those are the dogs that are specifically bred to protect livestock, right? Like sheep and goats.
Exactly. They're raised from puppies to bond with them, protect them.
Yeah.
Sheep, goats, chickens, you name it, they protect it.
I've always wondered about that, how that works. I mean, aren't dogs naturally inclined to chase those animals?
It seems counterintuitive, right? That's the thing about dogs, though. They're incredibly adaptable. When they are raised with a certain species from a young age, they often form even stronger bonds with them than with other dogs. It's really remarkable.
Wait, are you serious?
Totally.
They'd rather hang out with, a flock of sheep than with their own kind.
It really seems that way.
Yeah.
And get this, there's this rare genetic disorder in humans called Williams syndrome.
Okay.
And it's characterized by what some researchers call indiscriminate friendliness. And guess what?
What?
Studies suggest that dogs may actually possess certain genes associated with this syndrome.
Wait, are you serious?
Yep. It's possible that's why dogs are so good at making friends, not just with humans, but with other species too.
So like Coda and the deer, it's like they're genetically predisposed to be super social.
That's the theory, at least. And you know what this tells me?
Yeah.
That whole idea that dogs are just in it for the food, or that they only act like they love us because we feed them,
Yeah.
it's a bunch of baloney.
Right. There's so much more to it than that.
So much more. And thankfully, science backs us up on this one. Scientists are now using MRI technology to study dog brains.
Whoa, really? I did not know that.
It's true. These MRI studies are giving us a glimpse into how dogs think and feel.
So we can finally know what's going on in those furry little heads.
Exactly. For example, research by this guy, Gregory Burns, has shown that a dog's brain lights up in the reward center when their owner praises them.
Like they're getting a treat.
Exactly. It suggests that they really do love making us happy. And it's not just about the treat.
It's about the emotional connection.
Precisely. It adds even more evidence to the fact that the human-dog bond has incredible depth and complexity.
It's incredible. They're way more emotionally intelligent than we often give them credit for.
Absolutely.
It really makes you wonder, though, how did dogs get this way?
Yeah.
Like, how did they evolve to form such strong bonds, not just with us, but with other animals, too?
Okay, so you've just hit on this really fascinating area of study called, get ready for it, coevolution.
Coevolution.
Yeah. Essentially, it means that as humans evolved, so did dogs. And get this, vice versa.
Whoa, wait, so you're saying that humans evolving impacted how dogs evolved?
Exactly. We influenced their development, through breeding and stuff.
Right.
And they, get this, they actually shaped our behavior, even our biology, in return.
So what you're saying is our bond with dogs, it's so deep, it's actually woven into, like, the story of our species.
That's the idea. I mean, think about it. Thousands of years, right? Humans and dogs, side by side.
Working together.
Exactly. We relied on them. They relied on us. Protection, companionship. They helped us hunt. And what do? We gave them food, shelter, took care of them. That shared history over so many years, that's what created this bond. And it goes way beyond just, oh, hey, you're cool to hang out with.
Wow. That's incredible. But, okay, going back to dogs and other animals, if they can bond with all these different species, what makes the human-dog bond so special? Like, how is that different from, say, an LGD and a sheep?
That is a fantastic question, and a really important one, because it gets to the heart of what makes this bond, this human-dog bond, so unique.
Right.
Now, we can't read their minds or anything, but we can look at the differences, right?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so first there's the element of choice. LGDs, they're raised with livestock. That bond is formed because they're always together. It's instinct. It's their job, right?
Right, to protect.
But with humans, we choose to bring dogs into our lives.
We do. It's a very deliberate choice to make them part of our families.
Exactly. And that choice, that decision, that's something special.
It adds another layer to that bond.
It really does. It's a mutual decision, like a shared desire for that connection.
I like that, a shared desire.
We're actively choosing them, and they're choosing us back. They give us unconditional love and loyalty. It's pretty amazing.
It's like this unspoken agreement, right? Like, out of everyone, I choose you.
Exactly.
And then they're like, right back at you.
It's beautiful. It really speaks to how powerful this bond is. But okay, so on top of that choice, there's another big difference. Shared history.
So it's not just about what's happening now. It's about everything that's happened between our species over thousands of years.
You got it. Humans and dogs, we've been figuring each other out for generations, learning how to talk to each other, how to live with each other. We've shaped each other's journeys, literally.
That's wild. So you're saying this bond, it's not just something we feel, it's part of who we are, like in our DNA.
You got it. And all that shared history, that deep understanding, it's unlike anything else in the animal kingdom.
Wow. No wonder we feel such a strong connection with our dogs.
Right. Pretty incredible.
It makes you appreciate them even more.
Definitely.
Speaking of powerful connections, the story of Hachiko, the Akita dog in Japan, man, that one gets me every time.
The Akita, who became a symbol of unwavering loyalty, his story really pulls at the heartstrings, but it's more than just a heartwarming tale. It gives us a glimpse into the depth of emotion and connection that's possible between humans and dogs.
So for those who might not know, Hachiko lived in Japan in the 1920s with his owner, Professor Hidesaburo Ueno. Every day, Hachiko would walk with Ueno to the Shibuya train station as he went to work. And every day without fail, Hachiko would return to the station at the exact same time to greet Ueno when he came home.
It was their routine, a shared ritual that underscored their bond. It's amazing how such simple acts can become so meaningful.
Right. Tragically, though, Professor Ueno suffered a heart attack at work one day and passed away.
And of course, Hachiko didn't know this had happened.
He didn't, so he continued to go to that train station every day at 3 p.m., waiting for his owner to return.
And he did this for how long?
For 9 years.
9 years. Imagine that kind of unwavering hope day after day, that maybe, just maybe, his beloved professor would step off that train. It really makes you think about what was going on in his mind, the depth of his devotion.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder how a dog could maintain such devotion for so long. We've talked before about oxytocin, the love hormone. Do you think that could be playing a role here?
Absolutely. Think about it day after day, year after year during those walks to and from the station. Their bond was strengthened on a chemical level with each shared glance.
It's amazing to think about, and we've talked about how dogs have evolved to be incredibly social. Hachiko's story becomes even more powerful when you think about it in that light. It's a testament to the forces that have shaped this bond over millennia. It's like his story is this powerful example of everything we've been talking about. The oxytocin, the coevolution, the neuroscience. It all comes together to create this bond that goes beyond anything we might have imagined.
Exactly.
It's mind-boggling. Thinking about all of this, about Hachiko and Koda and these livestock guardian dogs, it really makes you wonder, what does this all mean for us as humans? What can we learn from these examples of these profound interspecies connections?
I think, for one, it challenges us to rethink our relationship with the animal world, to move beyond seeing animals as just pets or tools, and to recognize them as these sentient beings capable of deep emotion and complex relationships.
It's about acknowledging their capacity for loyalty, love, and even grief. And maybe, just maybe, by opening ourselves up to that understanding, we can learn something about ourselves, about our own capacity for connection and empathy.
It's humbling, isn't it, to think that we might be underestimating these incredible creatures.
Exactly. And I think stories like Hachiko's challenge us to really listen to what animals are trying to tell us, to look beyond just what we see on the surface and understand the depth of their emotional lives.
And about the power of connection, that it can even go beyond the boundaries of species. It's a pretty powerful message.
It definitely makes you think about their emotional depth. But okay, let's switch gears a bit. Let's talk about our own furry friends. How can we, as dog owners, make that bond even stronger, that bond we share with them?
Well, love, that might come naturally, but, to really build a strong, resilient bond, that takes effort, understanding. It's about trust, mutual respect.
Makes sense. So where do we start? Any practical steps we can take?
It can feel like, whoa, where do we even begin? But honestly, it really does come down to those everyday things, those little moments. One of the biggest things you can do is make time for playtime.
Okay, so we're talking about more than just like a quick game of fetch in the backyard.
Yeah. You want to really engage with your dog. I mean, really engage in a way that challenges their mind and their body, and honestly, yours too.
So quality over quantity.
100%. Whether it's a good old-fashioned game of tug-of-war or like a challenging puzzle toy to get their brain working, you could even just cuddle up on the couch,
Yeah. Right, like just be present.
Be present, be there in the moment with them,
Yeah. That makes sense. It's like anything else in life. Relationships thrive on that, quality time, attention. What about beyond playtime? What else can we do?
Don't underestimate the power of touch. Seriously.
Oh yeah, the belly rubs.
The belly rubs, ear scratches, those nice long strokes down their back.
Okay, but doesn't that release oxytocin too? It all comes back to the hormones.
It all comes back to the hormones.
So the more we touch our dogs, the more we're boosting those happy hormones, those bonding hormones.
You got it. And speaking of oxytocin, remember how we were talking about eye contact?
Yeah.
Major oxytocin booster.
It's like we have a superpower.
We do. So make time for those little gazing sessions, those moments of connection. They can do wonders.
I love those moments. They're so sweet. What about training?
Oh, training is huge.
Because there's that whole thing, like a tired dog is a good dog.
Right. Physical exercise is super important.
Of course, yeah.
But don't forget about mental exercise. Training, even just for a little bit each day, can make a world of difference.
So you don't need to sign up for professional obedience classes or anything?
No, it's about having fun.
Okay.
Finding something you both enjoy doing together. Maybe it's a new trick or working on some basic commands. You could even set up a little agility course in your backyard, Just keep it light, keep it fun.
So make it a game, not a chore.
Exactly. You're working towards a common goal.
Teamwork.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it builds trust, confidence, all that good stuff.
I love that. So much more than sit and stay.
Way more.
Okay, what about everyday stuff?
Yeah.
Any tips for when we're just hanging out at home?
Enrichment.
Enrichment.
That's the magic word. Think of it as giving your dog a chance to be a dog, to use their natural instincts and behaviors in a way that's fun and challenging, you know?
Okay, so like what kind of things?
Sniff walks are amazing. Instead of rushing through the walk, let them sniff around, explore.
Let them lead the way.
Exactly. Engages their senses, makes them think. Or how about puzzle feeders? Makes them work for their food a little bit, keeps them entertained.
So we're talking about stuff that stimulates their minds as much as their bodies.
You got it.
Keeps things interesting.
And when they're engaged, that bond, that connection, it just grows stronger.
This has been amazing. We've covered so much ground.
We have.
The science behind the bond, the power of coevolution, all those practical tips. It's been so eye-opening.
It really has.
Any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
Just remember that building that bond with your dog, it's a journey, not a race. It takes time, patience, and most importantly, just appreciate them for the amazing, unique creatures they are.
So well said. It's those everyday moments, those little things, they all add up.
They really do.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have for this episode of Unleashed, the podcast. We hope that this deep dive into the world of human-dog bonds has left you with a little more appreciation for your furry best friends.
And maybe even inspired you to strengthen those bonds even further.
Don't forget to share your stories with us. Tell us about your bond with your dog. Send us some photos. We might even share them on a future episode.
We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, keep those tails wagging.
And those bonds strong.